get started? Well, we have a cool video to kick off the keynote, so let's watch the cool video. Let's see if this works. Nope. There we go. Okay. This is rated A for awesome.
In a world of so-called heroes who are less than heroic, of antiquated ideas resting on their ever dustier laurels, of people afraid to make waves, much less a real difference, where the status quo rules with a tired, arthritic fist. There came, at last, a new breed of heroes, replacing the old. Fierce, brave, smart, undaunted by obstacles, supervillains, red tape, and fearful keepers of the way it's always been done. But they didn't come in capes, masks, tights. They look just like you and me. In fact, some of them are you. Difference makers, earth shakers, paradigm shifters, ultra heavy lifters. June of 2014, they assembled in Park City, Utah, to take the next step in changing education.
We have an amazing crew that makes these videos. Super cool. And that guy, he works for us. His name is Matt. Where's Matt? Is he here? He's probably in the kids' table. They're probably watching. Sorry, I just called the you remote people kids' table people. But he narrated it too. Amazingly, if you meet, I didn't notice that the first time around, but he's like in a world, he's got one of those voices. Okay, so I'm Josh Coates, and I'm the CEO of Instructure, and we have to start out. Oh, I got to turn this on. To start out with some mental warm-ups. We do this every year to get you guys warmed up. Okay, you ready for these? All right. See what we got here. Straws only have one hole. Think about that. No, they do. It's only one hole. Is your mind wrapped around that? Okay. I start out with a tough one. Okay. Next. Umop. Up. Oh, spoilers? Really? Whoa! For this side of the room that didn't hear the spoiler. Cool, huh? Okay. When a doctor says go home, go to bed, you're going to feel better in the morning. That's like the human version of, did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in? It's like a reboot. Think about that. It works usually, doesn't it? And when the IT guy says, did you do that? And you lie, and you're like, yeah, I tried it. Okay. This is just Why does the Flash need a motorcycle? Don't make any. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Now we're gonna try this out. Okay. Okay. First, I need everyone to close their eyes. Okay. I'm not gonna do anything weird. Don't worry. Okay. Close your eyes, and you see blackness, right? Now, open one eye, and what do you see in the eye that's closed? The blackness is gone. It's like you see nothing. But when you close both your eyes, you see blackness. That just blows me away. I just think that's cool. I don't know what's going on with my brain or my eyes, but everyone told me that was a dumb one. But I don't know. That one blows me away. Okay, let's see what's next here. Oh, yeah, okay. This is the finale here. Your brain should be pretty warm right now, but it's going to be blown in about 3 seconds. Ready? Anne Frank, Martin Luther King, and Barbara Walters. All born in 1929. Boom! For reals. Doesn't that blow you away? Incidentally, has anyone seen this movie, Eraserhead? If you haven't seen Eraserhead, well, I saw it when I was a very young child. That's why I am the way I am today. It's a good movie. Okay, that's it. You're all warmed up. Welcome to InstructureCon. Welcome to Instructure. We were founded in 2008. We were launched in 2011. Got over 800 customers now. Educational institutions, corporations, K through 12 school districts, and over 12 million users using the system. We're 100% native SaaS. We're venture-backed, and things are going really well. What do? We build learning management system platform, okay? And this is kind of what's been going on in the last 3.5 years since we launched. Lots and lots of customers. We've been growing really, really fast. It's a cool hockey stick graph there from 2011 when we launched up till June, up till present. 825 different institutions. Now, something that people get worried about, say you guys are growing so fast, what if you start sucking because you're growing too fast? It's a real concern, right? And trust me, I'm stressed out about that. Now, there's a couple metrics I try to pay attention to at least measure that, okay? One of them is how we're doing customer support-wise. So this is support ticket satisfaction by month for the last 12 months. It's really steady, and in fact, it's up a little bit. This is really, really good, okay? Because if you use customer support, usually you're irritated at a minimum, right? And if you're going away saying, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good afterwards, that's amazing. And these numbers are really incredible compared with other industry standards, which we measure ourselves by. So I'm very happy with this. We want to keep it steady as we grow, okay? Also, last year, I talked about a reliability. This is a graph from last year. I'll show you a graph from this year showing how reliable the system is, how much uptime it has, okay? So this is Canvas uptime from 0 to 100%. I'm totally kidding. Like, you can't read this. So I'm going to change. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to enhance, okay? And I'm going to zoom in to show the top 10% data. Okay, that doesn't work either. Okay, I just got on the CSI thing and I couldn't stop. Okay, this is the real one. Okay, so this is the top 1% of our uptime data. Okay, that big thick red line is 99.9% uptime. Okay, and so right now we're averaging 2 minutes of downtime per week, which is really awesome. It's really, really, really good because those 2 minutes of downtime probably are happening when you're sleeping or in the bathroom or doing something else. Well, you might do it on, well, I don't do that in the bathroom. Do you guys use? I don't. I should ask that. Does anyone use Canvas while on the toilet? I saw a couple of hands, just really quick. Okay, oh, by the way, this is pre-launch. So this is back in 2009 where we're measuring there. And of course, we were below 3 nines before we launched because we were just figuring stuff out. But we've pretty much steadily gone up and to the right, and it'll ebb and flow. We'll have good months and bad months. But that red line, that squiggly one, is the trailing 12 months. That's what's in our contract with you guys. And some months, you can see with some of our customers, it's like, oh, crap, we did more than 10 minutes of downtime this week for some customers. Because we have hundreds and hundreds of institutions across all this cluster of systems. And we migrate institutions from one cluster to another depending on what's going on. And so some clusters, some institutions, some people here are thinking, well, I've never had downtime. And some will be like, oh my gosh, I had 30 minutes last month. And so it all averages out. And so if you've had 30 minutes, you took one for the team because the averages worked out this way. But we still guarantee 3 nines for 12 trailing months. So anyway, things are going super good. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see the top 10th of percent of data, it looks like this. It's really train wrecky looking. You see the red lines way down here, 99.9%, and so it's really jagged. But there's lots of different ways to look at data. It's all the same data though, but just for fun if you wanted to see what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to talk about heroes. I'm going to talk about my heroes, and I am a white guy from Northern California. So you're going to see what white guys from California that grew up in the 80s think are cool heroes. But first I started out as a little guy, and I shared this last year. This is me with G.I. Joe and my gun, and our plan is to save the whales. And back then, that was how I was sure we would do it. But what ended up happening is my first real hero was this guy, Snoopy, right? I mean, I just thought he was the coolest. I thought, wow, So that was I think, my first hero that I could think of. And that was really not in the 80s. That was really in the 70s. I was born in 1973, and so that was what we did. You know what was really cool? I work with a lot of millennials, right? And I know that, just looking at the audience, I think most people are closer to my age than not, I think. And they don't have the shared experience that we had. It's like my wife's 43, and her and I can talk about oh, do you remember that Star Wars Christmas special that was on, It's like there was nothing else to watch. There was only 3 channels. And it's like, that's what we watched, and we changed the bunny ears. But now it's like, no, they don't have that shared experience. It's kind of crummy. Okay, so as I got older, we'll get into the 80s, the next real hero I had that I think is relevant today, even. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah! Hey, that's awesome. We didn't even plan that. Where are you guys from? What? Huntington Beach? Wow. That's awesome. I'm going to let this chorus finish because I have to. Okay. That was pretty cool, huh? Wow. So the guys from Huntington Beach dressed up as the greatest American hero. Okay, let me tell you why this is awesome, okay? See, this is one of these shared experiences. There wasn't a lot to watch on TV, and so you watch this guy. This guy, his name's Ralph Hinckley, and he's a special ed teacher, and he got this superhero outfit from Aliens, and it came with an instruction manual. Oh, that's a little dark, but yeah, the instructions, and he lost it. He lost the instruction manual. So, and he hooks up with this FBI guy, and they solve crimes and have adventures. And he is trying to figure out how this costume works and all the superpowers that he receives. And it seems to me that that's kind of how we all are. I think we have gifts and powers inside us, and we don't have an instruction manual. And we're struggling to figure out how to use that. And that just goes on our whole life, I think. And so I think the greatest American hero is probably one of the more relevant heroes I had growing up. But I also had a bunch of other random heroes, right? So we got a lot of heroes up there. Oh yeah, see this ugly guy in the bottom left-hand corner? So people are like, who's that? Who is that guy? I'm like, that's Bilbo. Can anyone get all of these? I don't know. There's a 1 or 2 tough ones. I don't know. There's some tough ones. Anyone think they got it? Who? Kevin, you think you got it? Okay, Kevin, what do you think? Okay, listen, I think Kevin's got it here. Kevin's from Heber. Okay. V in the upper left, that's the tough one, V. So that's from a comic book from the 80s. Okay, and who else we got? Well, you got to name all the A-Team guys. Come on. Face, okay, Face. Murdoch. B.A. Baracus, yeah. And Hannibal. Okay, that's good. Then we got Indy, of course. James Tiberius Kirk. Okay. Mad Max. Hey, down in front. What's going on? Okay. Oh, yeah. Come on. I know it's Sigourney Weaver, but come on. Who is it? It's Ripley. And Newt. And Newt. Right? They only come out at night, mostly. Remember? Yeah, mostly. Okay. And then Judge Dredd. And then the Ghostbusters. Can you name the Ghostbusters? Bankman, Egon, and Ray. Okay. Well, we did a pretty good job there. I'm feeling good about this. So this is who I looked up to. These were my heroes in the 80s. And now I'm going to tell you about my ultimate hero growing up. Okay, now this is my ultimate fictional hero. We're still on fictional heroes. And I'll give you some hints about who it is. Okay? He was an orphan. He inherited great wealth. And he had a hidden identity. He trained very hard and he fought evil. Oh, it's Batman. I mean, I'm too old to have Harry Potter as a hero. I miss that. Okay, so yes, it's Batman. Now, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, what we would do is we'd get on BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit System, right? It's the subway in the San Francisco Bay Area, but it doesn't, well, I guess it goes underground sometimes. Anyway, and we would go to Berkeley, and this is a comic book shop called Comic Relief on University Avenue in Berkeley. Anyone ever go to that comic book shop? We have any Berkeley people here? All right, sweet. And I guess it's shut down. It's not there anymore. But this was my comic place that I used to go to. And I went there, and when I was, when was it? It was about 1988. And I went there, and I discovered The Dark Knight, Batman. So this guy named Frank Miller created, sort of reinvented Batman as sort of this old curmudgeon, tough guy. It's like not the 60s Batman. It's kind of this tough Batman. And so I decided that I wanted to be like Batman. And what happened, though, is there was and Batman's kind of nasty, right? He beat up Superman. Robin was a girl, and like the Joker died. Sorry, spoiler. He killed him. You know, it was pretty rough stuff. And what I learned from it, being a teenager, being really enamored with The Dark Knight. Oh, by the way, this, you know what ruined everything? Is the first Batman had Michael Keaton cast as Batman. And in fact, you know, at this comic book shop, they had big posters protesting this. And they were going to have a letter writing campaign, and it was just, they didn't want Mr. Mom to be Batman. Anyway, we don't think about it anymore. You know, Christopher Nolan pretty much fixed all that. Okay, so what did I learn? Well, the 14-year-old Josh, this is what the 14-year-old Josh learned. Bad guys must be stopped. Superman's a wuss. Knowing how to fight is important. Now, I just reread this series this last summer because I thought, you know, I was out in Boston and I was waiting to get to the airport, and there was a comic book shop out there in Faneuil Hall. And I went, oh yeah, I should go get the Dark Knight Returns series and reread that. So I did. And this was my conclusion. 40-year-old Josh basically decided that Batman's a terrible role model. So I'm like, well, I guess he was cool back then, but holy cow, this guy has some major issues, and I would not want my kids to emulate anything that he is or does. I'll tell you about a fictional hero that I think is a good role model. Now, this is Mr. Titus. Mr. Titus was my 8th grade English teacher at Orinda Intermediate School, OIS. And Mr. Titus, I found him on LinkedIn. I was like, oh yeah, who's that teacher? Mr. Titus, the cool guy, the cool teacher. Let me sit on my desk backwards. And he was just a good, and oh, you know what else he used to do? He used to take those, you know those kind of fancy Tootsie Rolls? There aren't Tootsie Rolls, but they're like, have kind of the shiny foil thing, and they're like gourmet, you know what I'm talking, I don't know what even know, I haven't seen those in years. But anyway, he would take those, and he'd randomly just chuck them out in the classroom, and everyone would dive to go get them. Just in the middle of class, he'd just randomly do that, and we'd do that. And then you know what he'd do? He'd wrap a piece of chalk up in the wrapper. Because people would fight over it and just shove them in their mouths before the other kids would get to them. And then they'd go, "Bah!" You know, and us kids were so dumb, we'd forget that he does that every month or so. And anyway, this is Mr. Titus. So he assigned a reading assignment to Kill a Mockingbird. And quickly, I mean, I fell in love with Atticus Finch. And he was an amazing hero. He was a teacher. He had moral courage. He was a great father. And he shot a dog that was rabid. And that's kind of cool. I was still 15. I mean, you know. Okay, let's talk about heroes in real life. Okay? Let's talk about real life heroes. I'm gonna showcase a handful of real life heroes. And the first one is Kathrine Switzer. She was the first woman to officially complete the Boston Marathon in 1967. It's amazing. 1967 was it was a little ways ago, but it's strange to imagine that there was a race that women weren't allowed to participate in. That's just so foreign to me. We're going to watch a little video, a little few minutes, about her story.
The idea of running long distance was always considered very questionable for women because, an arduous activity would mean that you're going to get big legs and grow a mustache and hair on your chest and your uterus is going to fall out. So I filled out the entry form. I signed my name with my initials. I signed K.V. Switzer. When I signed it that way, obviously, when the form went in, they couldn't tell from the back. So there we were with my coach Arnie Grace and my boyfriend and American football player Tom Miller. When other runners would come by, they'd say, "Oh, it's a girl!" And they were so excited. And Arnie said, "Yep, I trained her." And all of a sudden, the flatbed truck was in front of us, and I heard the photographer saying, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." And they were taking pictures of us. On this truck was the race directors. One of them was a feisty character by the name of Jock Semple. He just stopped the bus, jumped off, and ran after me. Suddenly I turned and he just grabbed me and screamed at me, "Get the hell out of my race and give me those numbers." And then he started clawing at me, trying to rip my numbers off. And I was so surprised. And he had the fiercest face of any guy I'd ever seen, and out of control, really. I was terrified. And all of a sudden, my boyfriend, Big Tom, hit Jock on this incredible crossbody block and sent Jock flying.
There he goes.
And all of this happened in front of the press truck. The journalist got very aggressive. "What are you trying to prove? Are you a suffragette? Are you a crusader?" Whatever that is, And I said, "What? I'm just trying to run." They finally left. Then it got very quiet. Snow's coming down. Nobody's saying anything. And I turned to Arnie and I said, "Arnie, I've gotten you into a lot of mess here, I guess." But I said, "I don't know where you stand in this." But I said, "I'm going to finish this race on my hands and my knees if I have to. Because nobody believes that I can do this." And suddenly I realized, if I don't finish this race, then everybody's going to believe women can't do it and that they don't deserve to be here and that they're incapable. I've got to finish this race. I finished in 4 hours, 20 minutes. That race changed my life. It wasn't until about midnight when we were driving back from Boston to Syracuse University and we stopped on the thruway to get an ice cream and some coffee. Did we see the newspapers and it covered front and back of all the different editions with the pictures. I realized that now this was very, very important, and was going to change my life, and it was probably going to change women's sports.
Very cool. Very cool. They actually made up. There's Jock, and they later became friends. So there's kind of a happy ending. He was very concerned about the integrity of the race, and he didn't understand how serious she was about it. And later, he became a very strong supporter of women in the Boston Marathon. People can change. I'm going to tell you another story about this student named Sophie that attended the University of Munich. And this is an Instagram shot of her. She's one of those filters to make her look old-fashioned. I'm just kidding. She grew up in Nazi Germany in the 30s. And her name was Sophie Scholl. And some of you may have heard about Sophie Scholl. And if you haven't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Her brother started a resistance group called the White Rose. And she found out about it, and she very much wanted to join when she was in high school. And they worked together with a small group, and they wrote leaflets. They wrote 6 different leaflets, and they distributed these leaflets. And they talked about the atrocities of the Holocaust. They talked about the slaughter that was going on the Eastern Front, about their freedoms being taken away, about repression from the government. Really heady stuff for young people. Well, I've got a short clip I'll show you. A couple of documentaries have been done, and in fact, a movie in 2005 was done about Sophie Scholl. And you can hear the story from the movie. It's just a 2-minute clip, just shows kind of her story and what she went through.
Sugar, I never make more sugar. Sugar baby of mine, my special wishes.
Die verteile ich morgen in der Uni.
Das ist Wahnsinn.
Halt! Stehen bleiben! Sind verhaftet.
Fräulein Sophia Magdalena Scholl?
Ja,
Geboren am 9.05.1921 in Feuchtenberg. 21 Jahre. Wollen Sie nachlesen, was auf Hochverrat und Feindbegünstigung steht? Gefängnis? Zuchthaus? Oder Todesstrafe?
gesteh denen bloß nichts.
Es gibt nichts zu gestehen.
Geben Sie doch endlich zu, dass Sie mit Ihrem Bruder zusammen die Flugblätter hergestellt und verteilt haben.
Ja. Und ich bin stolz darauf. Sie werfen uns Hochverrat vor. Und jetzt wollen Sie, dass ich angebliche Mittäter verrate, damit ich selber besser davonkomme?
Ja, was bilden Sie sich denn ein?
Egal, wie mein Bruder verurteilt wird. Ich will keine mildere Strafe bekommen. Bitte sorgt euch nicht. Ich würde alles genauso wieder machen.
Really incredible. She was arrested in February, on February 18th, 1943, and she was executed 5 days later. Anyway, I get a little emotional about how courageous this young woman was. I'm an amateur historian. I study World War II, and this is it's incredible to me that young people back then had the courage to do what she did. And she's one of my heroes. I also named my dog after her. She's a German Shepherd. I figured there's not that many good Germans to pick, so. Is that terrible? That's going to bite me, isn't it? Anyway, that's my dog. So, all right, one last hero we're going to talk about. Norman Borlaug. A lot of you might not know who this guy is. He saved 1 billion people's lives. He's the hipster hero. He's the hero you probably never heard about, right? So I'll tell you a little bit about Norman. I've got about a 2-minute video to talk about Norman. He did some pretty amazing stuff, and he's definitely an unsung hero. Okay, here's Norman's story.
Well, when you go into a field, because of my competitive spirit, in part that I learned from athletics, You should go in with the passion to try to do your best. And that's why the people that I brought to Mexico, I always told them on the first day, we're going to teach you to be rebels, not with guns and daggers, but with science and technology.
It really is true that he has fed hundreds of millions of people, in effect, with his science, his commitment, his willingness to devote day in, day out of his extraordinarily rich and long life to the pursuit of human betterment.
All of these people who are part of our staff here at the present time are the people who have made most of the contributions.
Well, I say that if I have done something, it's been a leader of a team, and I couldn't have done anything alone. Those who were my students who passed this on, this is an ongoing thing. If the people of the affluent nations want to hope to have tranquility and peace for their children and grandchildren, it won't be based on human misery and poverty, starting with hunger, lack of education, lack of medical service. And my belief is that in the game of baseball, you've got to go in with the spirit of will to win, not with defeatism. And so it is with the biggest and most important game of all, the game of life.
So here, this is really, you're saying, well, okay, what did this guy do? This is what he did. This green line is how much land is used for farms in the world. And it's been basically constant. The red and the blue is how much yield we get from that land. And the reason it's going up and to the right, is because of Norman. He basically figured out, he spent 15, 20 years taking grain and effectively breeding it, figuring out how do we take an acre of land and create more tonnage of food. And he did this in Mexico and in Pakistan and in India. And he's the reason why we don't have more people starving to death today. It's really incredible. And he did this with science and with technology and with hard work. And he received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 for his work, because it turns out when people aren't hungry, they don't fight as much. Makes sense. He says, I'm not one to sit idly by, and if I have anything to contribute to this world, I'm going to play that card. I'm going to play it hard. He was a wrestler, too. Weird, huh? He's a wrestler. I used to wrestle. I wrestled for a year. It was terrible. I mean, it was great, but holy cow, you get beat up a lot. All right, look, let's talk about how we can be heroes. So I got a quick, how much time do I have left? Am I okay? Am I doing okay? All right, okay. I'll talk about, but one thing you have to understand about, I have a few rules about how to be a good action hero. But this is not one of them here. If you want to make it through, just be yourself. You hear that? You can't just be yourself. You have to change, right? That's something you have to understand is you have to be willing to change. You can't just say, I'm going to always be myself. Now, you can be true to yourself, and all of us have some inner core inside of us, but part of becoming a hero and being a hero is changing. So, without further ado, let's talk about what heroes do. Heroes plan, but know when to stop planning. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So here's the thing, right? A lot of times, as people in the education industry or in the startup business, or we want to plan everything out. We're smart people, right? And we say, well, if we just spend more time planning, at some point you hit diminishing returns, right? And you have to stop planning, and you just have to go out there and do something. Okay? Heroes know when to stop planning. Now, heroes don't have no plan, right? They say, hey, let's have a plan, but they know when to stop. So this is an important thing to understand, because when you do get hit, it doesn't matter what your plans were, right? You got to react. Heroes create new opportunities through action. I'll explain this. When we're trying to make a decision, we take data and we do some analysis on this data, because we're trying to figure out how to make a decision about something X, right? Now what happens is a lot of times we get into this analysis paralysis, similar to the, hey, let's keep planning forever stage. What we need to do is to take some action, some little action, some incremental small action during that process of analysis. Because when we do that, what happens is new data pops up, and some of the old data is invalidated, right? And this cycle can continue. Just take little actions, go back to analysis. Little actions, go back to analysis. And eventually what often happens is you find out, you know what? It turns out we didn't even want X. We figured out Y is more important, so let's start talking about Y. The only way this happens is through action. So it's really important. Heroes understand this, that you have to take action to get more data, to invalidate some data, and to make better decisions, okay? Heroes know that inaction is almost always worse than action. Da Vinci said, iron rusts from disuse, stagnant water loses its purity, and in cold weather becomes frozen. Even so does inaction sap the vigors of the mind. When we decide to do nothing, that's a decision, right? But it's almost always the wrong decision. Now, not always, just almost always. It's always better to take some action, okay? And heroes understand this. And a lot of times we have obstacles in our way, right? A lot of us are thinking, hey, I'd love to take action, but I can't. There's things in my way. Well, there are solutions to that. And a lot of times, we're not even motivated to take action. Intellectually, we know what we should do, but sometimes it's really hard to get motivated. Heroes know that motivation follows action. So there's a quote here, do not wait to strike till the iron is hot, but make it hot by striking. It's actually when you hit iron, it gets hot, right? A lot of people say, well, it's not ready. I'm not ready to take action. We're not ready to do this initiative. We're not ready to make this change. Well, if you start doing stuff, that will just, feedback loop will kick in, and things will get ready just from taking these micro steps, right? And you'll become motivated. A lot of times, I mean, this is incredible. Like if you go work out, you rarely hear people after they work out say, gosh, I wish I didn't do that, right? You always think, yeah, look what I did, right? And so when you're doing it, it creates that motivation. Cool stuff. Okay. Heroes know persistence is more important than power. Okay? Rocks, water. A river cuts through a rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Now, that's not to say power is not useful, because holy cow, power is powerful. But persistence can overcome any weakness you have in power. You just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Now, some guy named Jim Watkins said this, because the internet told me, but he works for KPIX in New York. He's an anchor. I don't believe the internet, so I don't think he actually said that. Heroes speak up. Heroes speak up. And this is my favorite one here. You ready for this one? This one's cool. Coco Chanel. The most courageous act is to think for yourself aloud. That last word is the most important word. Because a lot of us think for ourselves, to ourselves. You know what? That's not okay. You have to be willing to speak out. That's what's important. And heroes know that, and they do that. That's the difference between a hero and someone who's not a hero. You have to be willing to speak aloud when you think for yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to agree with you in the room. That's not the point. The point is to be heard, right? And to collaborate, and to defend people that are weaker, and stand up for principles that are correct. You can't do that by yourself. I guess a tweet's okay, but in person's always better. Okay. Heroes understand and focus on the right target. See what happened there? Let's watch that again. Yeah, okay. See, I can just watch this all day. I love this. See, this is the problem, is there's stuff going on around us all the time, and you say, I know something's not right. I got to fight this. But you have to make sure you're fighting the right thing, okay? Otherwise, people are going to get hurt, right? So there are problems, there are obstacles, there are powers that need to be fought. Just make sure you're fighting the right one, okay? Heroes stay humble by owning failure, right? Now, you think, oh, well, I'm an action hero, I'm doing action. I'm going to be full of myself. Well, maybe a little bit, maybe that's a little bit healthy, but I guarantee you, not all your actions are going to work out, right? You're going to have some train wrecks. What's important about it is what Bruce Lee says. Mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit to them. Own your mistakes. That will keep you humble, I promise. It will. You can start with your spouse and then work from there. Okay? All right. And finally, heroes don't consider the odds. And who said this? Han Solo, of course. Never tell me the odds. Now, this seems a little silly, right? Because you know what? I think it's important to consider the odds. I do. Do some quick math. Say, you know what? I'm pretty sure this isn't going to work out. My numbers say that this isn't going to work out. I'm pretty sure. You know what, though? Just think that to yourself and consider what's at stake. And if there's a chance, ask yourself, what do you have to lose? What's the worst thing that could happen? Well, you get fired. But that's, that's okay. You didn't need that job anyway. No, most of the time when you ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen, it's actually not that bad. And I'll tell you, if everyone considered the odds, nothing great would happen. Think about that. Every hero we reviewed today, the real life heroes, none of them would have done what they did if they considered the odds. And things in your life are the same. Think of the great things you've done. Chances are there was kind of a slim to none chance it was going to happen, but it worked out. So don't consider the odds. Think about them, but just ignore them and just go for it, okay? Remember, the worst that could happen usually isn't that bad. Okay, these are the heroes, right? But of course, you know who the real heroes are. People like you, right? You're here. And the reason you're here, one, is Park City's fun. But you're here because you want to become better heroes at your own institutions. And learn from each other. Learn from us. Sharpen your saw. And then go back and be heroes to the people you work with. The students you work with. The teachers you work with. The faculty you work with. The parents you work with. That's what this conference is all about, is becoming better heroes than we already are. And to remind ourselves, hey, we're doing good stuff, you know? Everyone in this room could have gone off and done all sorts of different types of employment, but you're in the business of teaching people. There's very little purer in the world than that pursuit, in my opinion. One last thing. Upon further reflection, I did realize that I did learn something from Batman. I learned that confidence actually matters a little bit. It's important. It's important. All right, ready to wrap up here? Oh, you're going to take me away? All right, okay. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I got to get back out there.
destroy you. Don't make me destroy you.
Let's thank UDL. They're one of our local dance groups here in Utah, so that was really fun.